You are listening to the Masculine Mindset Show, a podcast for men to develop a backbone, a masculine purpose, if you will, and get more physically attractive, and even become more mentally healthy. All you men listening, I turn nice introverts into fit, self-entitled savages, if you will. And you might even become a little cocky as a result of your G status. More importantly, you guys, I also show you how to flirt and date more women and seal the deal. Just look at the show notes. They are all on my blog articles. Let's get into the content. What's up, guys? Before we get into the content, do me a favor. Leave me a 5-star review with words behind it, okay? This helps me rank up in the search rankings. And one more thing, you guys. I just put my show on iHeartRadio, also Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music, even CastBox as well, you guys. So follow me on these platforms. Okay, I'll say that again. iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and CastBox. All right, let's get into the content. This podcast is sponsored by my book, Closer's Guide to Seduction. Now, before I proceed, understand something, you guys. Before I tell you how to influence women, I have to make one thing really fucking clear. In my book, I state very clearly, you never seduce women with false promises. You never seduce women with false promises. Do not seduce women with false promises, because when you do that shit, women can fucking often get annoyed, and they're gonna realize that they got into something that they wish they didn't get into, and then they're gonna have what is called buyer's remorse. Okay, buyer's remorse is very real, and I'm gonna tell you something, you guys. If you do that shit to women, I don't agree with it. I just don't, okay? Now, I've done some shit here and there, but I'll tell you something, you guys. Understand that I kind of regret those decisions. But the point is this, you guys. The point is this. I don't want you to kind of, okay. I'll be okay if you just basically go out and practice my lines and you kissing women, right? Like, that's fine, but don't fucking lead them on where basically you get them hoping for something and then you just don't even execute. That's called incongruence, and I don't like that shit, okay? So, what am I getting at here, you guys? What do I mean by that? Guys, don't be incongruent, okay? And don't lead women on like you are just being an asshole, like a genuine asshole, okay? I've talked about genuine assholes. First off, they have a taker mentality. They don't lead with value, right? And more importantly, you guys, they really just screw over people in general. And that right there is a genuine asshole. And I don't want you to do that shit. I just don't, okay? So, one last note I want to make before I get started on how to influence women. Guys, don't confuse self-absorption with seductive narcissism. Okay? Now, those of you who hear that term, you're like, what the fuck is that? Well, seductive narcissism is essentially you love your sexy self so much, and you show your sexy self-love, and you demonstrate that, and you pull a woman in with your seductive charm, and you just say, check this out, chick. I know that I'm giving you a gift, alright? I'm giving you a gift. Guys, have you ever thought about going out there to approach women? Have you just ever thought about this mindset shift? I'm giving her the gift of my good looks. Do you see why, guys, it's kind of slightly narcissistic? Because you're a little bit full of yourself. But the better mindset shift, you just say, I'm giving her a gift. I'm giving her a gift of my good looks. Right? Okay, so let's get started. All right, I'm going to tell you a story, you guys. I'm going to start out this podcast with a story. And by the way, this is in one of my unreleased books called My 10 Best Cold Reads. Okay? Now, in this story, I got a haircut, right? By the way, I don't want to say her name on my podcast because I told her about my podcast. So I'll just say the letter K. All right? K. Here's what I said to K. Do you know about female hypergamy? And she said, no. What is that, Adam? Tell me about it. I told her, it's the idea that women are trading up, and it is the reason for the high divorce rates. And she said, well, that's interesting, Adam. What got you into this field, Adam? I looked at her and I said, honestly, I just want to help dudes realize that they can overcome the harsh truth in dating, and it's within their power to understand attraction. Now, I'm telling you guys, this is a legitimately true story. Okay, I don't fucking make stories up. By the way, that's a mistake that some of you guys make too. Is you don't want to be dishonest with women. Okay, because guys hear about this thing called storytelling, and they often run these canned routines or like canned stories, if you will. But you guys understand that if you run these canned stories and if you make those stories up, women pick up on inauthenticity. So, what I'm getting at here is this. Guys, just be honest, okay? Now, at the very end of the haircut, I said to Kay, you see, Christy, it's very obvious to me what women are attracted to. Oh, snap, I just dropped her name. Well, honestly, you guys, there are a million Christies in the world, so it's all good. She said, really? And she looked at me with intrigue, right? So, what I'm going to say to you here is I said back to her, I said, women are attracted to confidence. And funny guys, slightly cocky, but doesn't have to force it. It's just in his own mind, and he doesn't have to prove it to anyone. Okay, so, guys, that is a true story. Okay, 110% true. Now, if you've read my article, Easiest Way to Get Laid, you guys already know that I flirt with hairstylists. I just do. I own it, and I will admit that to you. And guys, by the way, I'm going to tell you something. She's married. And I don't, guys, some of you hear that and you're like, Adam, that's just wrong. Well, you know what, guys, I will fully own the fact that I kind of like to flirt with unavailable women. It's just, as you already know, if you heard my episode, women don't want to be respected, right? You know that my dark desire is just flirting with married women. So whatever. I mean, it is what it is kind of thing. What did I do, you guys? What did I do in that particular story on how I influenced her? Okay, I'm going to tell you something, you guys, and this is what's so fucking powerful, is I told her what women are attracted to. I said, women are attracted to confidence. Funny guys, slightly cocky, but doesn't have to force it on anyone. It's just in his own mind, and he doesn't have to prove it to anyone. Okay? Now, that right there is the first way to influence women. Tell her what women are attracted to. Okay, now, second way to influence women. Guys, I'm actually going to do like a reinterpretation of one of my cold reads that I talked about, if you heard my episode, called 3 Powerful Cold Reads to Turn Her On. Okay, so it must be tough for you out there. So after you say that comment, it must be tough for you out there. I want you to kind of look off into the distance and know that the reason we want to look kind of want to be aloof about this is because you don't want to look at her like you are seeking a reaction. Okay, so after you say that comment, just kind of look away from her. It's like the term is basically take away attention. Now she's going to say, well, what do you mean? And you just look back at her and then you say this. Well, it's not like you're out there looking for a guy, but you'd like to meet one if it happened. You get me? It's like every guy is impressively uninteresting or a douchebag, but every once in a while you meet one that seems interesting. But all the other douchebags in your past makes you question him. Do you want my advice? Trust your instincts. We've all been through some fucked up shit, but letting the past cloud your judgment about someone new would really be unfair to him and you. And now, after that, you guys, you just change the subject and you start talking about something else. Now, here's why I love that, you guys. Here's why I fucking love that. When you say that sequence right there, here's what it does. Okay? It gets her thinking about basically to not let her ego get in the way of meeting a guy that could be good for her, right? And you're going to be thinking, whoa, this guy has the answer to what I'm missing in my love life. Do you guys see how fucking brilliant that is? Again, how to influence women right here. Guys, core reading is influencing at its finest. Now, last one, you guys. And I have to really give you a fair warning here. Okay? Big warning. Big disclaimer. Okay? Guys, if you do this the wrong way, okay, she will not only raise up her defenses, but she will see as you are the biggest asshole that she's ever met, okay? But if you do this the right way, okay, and again, you guys, I'm guilty of being an asshole, but I'm going to tell you something, you guys. I know better than to be a genuine asshole. There's a difference, okay? That fucking taker mentality is what I'm talking about here. Now, there's something called projective identity. Now, you heard about identity projection if you've heard cocky funny lines, right? So, here's what I want to say to you about this before we even get started. Understand, you guys, that when you do identity projection, you are essentially, you're basically telling her how she is, okay? And as I said in that episode, right? As I said in that episode, what I said, you guys, is I said this, you guys. We act through our identities, okay? Our perceived identity equals who we see ourselves as, plus how we perceive others to see us. So the point here is this, you guys. Understand that when you basically tell her how she is, right? Say, hey, you know, you remind me of a friend who I used to know, and she was really adventurous, and she would kind of hate it when things would get extremely mundane and predictable, like if you're living on Groundhog's Day and you just are waiting for something new, something different to stand out. You get me? You also have this type of energy about you that I like a lot. It's like you're very fiery and you know what you want, especially when the opportunity strikes. You have no question in your mind that you would go for instantly. So you guys, notice what I did there, okay? Again, I incorporated the you remind me, and then I also projected how I see her as. You guys, okay, I want to explain this a little bit further, you guys. You have to change your perception of her a little bit, okay? You have to, in a way, look at her like I see her as this person who I used to know, right? Again, you remind me. And again, project how you see her, your perception of her changes, and then you kind of really you basically get her to feel a certain type of way around you. And here's why this is so fucking effective. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. She's gonna often say to you, she's gonna often say this to you: you have a way of bringing out parts of me that I never even knew were there. Okay? So, guys, this is why I say that this is kind of like NLP shit. Because identity framing, you guys, is one of those ways to actually tell a woman about her perceived identity. Okay? And this is why, guys, I put a big disclaimer right here. Okay? I put a big disclaimer right here. Because you do this wrong, you're gonna come across as awkward. But if you do this right, you're gonna come across as, oh, you're a fucking badass. But my last big point here I want to make before I drive this podcast home. Understand, you guys, that what I'm giving you today is some kind of trippy shit. Probably listen to this a few times, more than once, to kind of really digest it. Now, one last thing I want to say, you guys, before I wrap this up. Please leave me a 5-star review with words behind it. I love you, you charming fucking badass.